It's been a month since the US pulled out of Afghanistan. In the days leading up to the withdrawal, tens of thousands of people tried desperately to get out the country as the Taliban took over. US and allied forces evacuated more than 120,000 people, including 6,000 Americans. Small groups of Americans and green card holders have been able to leave the country since then.
We helped build a state, Mr. Chairman, but we could not forge a nation.
The country's top military chiefs have been answering tough questions from congressional lawmakers about the US troop withdrawal. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said they were surprised Afghan forces melted away so quickly amid corruption and poor leadership, noting in hindsight the departure of US troops would have crushed morale. The top general said their view earlier in the year was that some troops should remain.
Yes, my assessment was back in the fall of 20, and it remained consistent throughout, that we should keep a steady state of 2,500, and it could bounce up to 3,500, maybe something like that, in order to move toward a negotiated, gated solution.
The Taliban has promised a softer brand of rule compared to before the US invaded in 2001. But they've announced an all-male government and implemented a version of Islamic justice, including public hangings. Afghan women gained basic rights over the last 20 years, becoming lawmakers, judges, pilots and police officers. But under the Taliban, some girls and female teachers have been excluded from school, while women's access to work is limited. The international community, including the United States, faces the dilemma of whether to recognise the Taliban as the official rulers of Afghanistan. That's even though some government ministers are on a United Nations terrorist blacklist. Well, the Taliban has asked for international recognition and financial help. The World Health Organization has warned of a growing crisis.
Unless urgent action is taken, Afghanistan faces an imminent humanitarian catastrophe. Health workers are leaving, creating a brain drain that will have consequences for years to come.
As many as 37,000 Afghan refugees have been approved to resettle in parts of the US so far. The White House says more than double that number will eventually make it. Many of them helped US forces in Afghanistan. How they are treated is part of how the world views the US pullout process 1 month on. Caroline Malone, CGTN, Washington.